happening before our eyes, which were once thought unattainable, impossible, so many things, that they are all happening as the indications of what which I have told you, that we are raising to a collective bliss. We are raising up into the Sobodha of Rashtra. There are so many things. I would like to give one or two examples of that. What all are the indications, symbols of this awakening? See, in 2014, a new government came into existence in Delhi. To explain about that particular change of power in Delhi, one paper publishing from London wrote an editorial in which it has been clearly mentioned, today may go down in the history as English people finally left Bharat. It has been clearly mentioned by the Sunday Guardian of England. Finally, English went away. It has been written in 2014, one indication. And in that oath-taking ceremony, you may be knowing, for the first time in the history of Bharat, all the representatives of the countries around us, or countries that can be explained as the parts of Akhanda Bharata, participated in that oath-taking ceremony. Many of us must have forgot about that. It was a clear indication which has been given to the whole world what was Bharat, what must be Bharat. I would like to put it in that way. See, our soft power, the main soft power yoga, has been placed before the whole world, and has approved it as a date has been approved and announced as International Yoga Day. I don't want to explain much, you may be knowing, just to remind you about all these things. Once we were all thinking that Article 370 will not be withered away, as it has been mentioned by the constitutional framers, that it will wither away, it is a temporary, it is a transitionary article. But we people, you all are remembering some 5 or 10 years back, we were all thinking that it will not wither away, it is strengthening and strengthening. If we touch on that, it may lead to another division. And that's why I'm saying we are awakening to our cultural ethos and civilizational values once more, re-awakening to be more precise. And our Chengol means from south, Adhinam. Chengol has traveled all the way to Delhi, and it has been placed beside the speaker's seat. It has been placed there. And at last it also has happened. On January 22nd, Prana Pratishtha has happened. Many of you must have been thinking some years back, is it possible? Mandir wahi banayenge, mandir yehi banayenge. Many people were telling, but still, I don't think that how many of you have got that firm belief that it will happen in our lifetime. I don't know. I was a bit doubtful, though I was, during that agitation, I used to give 12 or 13 or 14 speeches per day, finishing all those speeches and campaign, coming back to my Karyalaya. Before sleeping, I am just thinking, can I see? But it also has happened. All these aspects or incidents which are mentioned by me, it shows that we are lucky. We people who are living in this era are lucky, blessed to live in this glorious dawn. Glorious dawn. Years back, some 250 years back, one famous English poet, William Wordsworth, wrote a beautiful poem, The Prelude. Actually, it was meant as an introduction or preface for a bigger poem or kavya which he proposed to write, but it didn't happen. So that prelude has been published later on, in which he has mentioned these particular words I have mentioned. Bliss it was in that dawn to be alive. Bliss it was in that dawn to be alive. Next line, I don't know how many of you can say that. but to be young is very heaven. Youth is a mentality, mind possession, so everyone can claim that. So we are blessed, we are very much in a way anugrahit. We have discussed a bit about the swa or the selfhood about in the preliminary, at the outset itself. Along with these thoughts or these incidents or these ideas came into fore, the most important factor or idea, most important I would like to say, is regarding the unity and integrity of this nation. Ekata or Akhandata of Bharat. These two words, Ekata and Akhandata, I would like to put it in this way. Ekata of this so-called political India or political Bharat, strengthened political Bharat, expanding towards, developing towards a civilized or a extended Akhanda Bharata. That is, the second Akhandata or integrity denotes our Akhanda Bharata. Aim of all these type of slogan creators, mongers, are to create disturbance in this great land. That's why I have said that they are trying to create a cacophony in this beautiful symphony of nationalism reawakening. We are saying. Some are trying to create the Khalistan again. Some are claiming that Northeast was never a part of Bharat. It is to be divided away. So these type of propaganda is also going on. One thing is for sure, you may be knowing that these type of efforts will not succeed. It will not win. Why I am saying that much affirmatively? I am saying that it will not happen. It will not succeed. Because the very reality of Bharat is unity. The eternal unity of this land, this sacred land, the indubitable cultural unity which connects us together from end to end. Once Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar presented a paper, once means in 1916. In 1916 he presented a paper in Columbia University It was an anthropological seminar in which he has presented the paper on caste, and that particular paper has been published as a small book also. He was talking about the homogeneity, geographical unity of Bharat. And he was talking about such a unity is not at all there in the whole world. That is the beauty of this peninsula. After explaining all these specialities, significance of Bharat's unity, he come to a particular point in which he has said that the basis of this geographical unity is the indubitable cultural unity which spreads from end to end. End to end means what? From south to north. A Setu Himachalam. Imayamala Mutal Kumarivare. That has been clearly mentioned in another language, another bhasha by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. That is the reality. Akhanda Bharata, or this unity, is a reality. It is not an imaginary idea. That is the next point I would like to say. See, this Akhandata concept. Akhandata concept, I would like to start it with in its spiritual meaning of that Akhandata. Akhandata, Swaraj, all have got some spiritual content and spiritual meaning also. See, Akhandata is not at all confined to a material or geographical area or a particular land. In Bharat, this Akhandata is to establish the connection with the whole universe and the whole, the ultimate creator of this whole universe. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tat padam darshitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. So this Akhandata is not confined to our political India or Bharat alone. It is our cultural Bharat. It is our cultural Asia or Jambudvipa. Jambudvipa already has been mentioned here, you know. That particular incident has also been very well, reminded by Prabhulji. When the fight was started in Shivaganga under the leadership of Marutu brothers, Periya Marutu and Chinna Marutu, they have given a proclamation in the name Jambudvipa Prakatane. See, people who are living down south have got that thought, that feeling, that idea, which is not confined in the geographical boundaries of the present India, and they were talking about the whole Asia, Jambudvipa. Okay. So, Akhanda Mandalakaram, that's a spiritual concept actually. Just like Swaraj. Swaraj also is not at all a political concept alone. In Chandogya Upanishad, it has been clearly defined, this Swaraj concept. What is Swaraj? Swaraj means when oneself is raised to that level, feeling that all other self are mine. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, I am Atma Brahma. This level of this self-realization is known as actually Swaraj. Yes, it is to be taken to the geographical or material level, then it will become political Swaraj or like that. So this also must be in our mind when we are talking about Akhanda Bharata. It is to spread our idea, our civilizational concept, ethos, to the whole world, that the whole universe. They are all waiting for that also. That's the thing. The masters of the divisive politics may not accept it. Let alone Akhanda Bharata, they are not ready to accept even India concept also. Now they are very much, they are votaries of India against the Bharata. Once they, if they won, they are not going to win in that, win in that narrative war, but if they won in that matter, then suddenly they will attack India also. There's no doubt about it. One prominent leader, ideological leader of this gang, a historian, an octogenarian, not octogenarian, now 90 plus, when she was octogenarian, you may be knowing who I am mentioning. She was asked by a journalist of Indian Express that, Madam, what do you think about an India after 25 years? How it will be? How strong it will be? That great historian, I have already said, the head of this, all this gang, she said with a grim pleasure in her corner of the lips, she said, I don't know which India you are mentioning. I don't know. If you are mentioning about this India, the political India, which has been put down by the might of your army, see the words which are being used, might of your big army, I don't think that it will remain as it is after 25 years. There will be at least 25 Indias. So that's why I said, let alone the Akhanda Bharata concept or the Sanskritik Bharata concept or civilizational state concept, they are not ready to even accept the India. They are saying, they are believing that the very India nation is a contribution given by British. See, one of the representatives of the main spokesperson of this gang, who happened to be a journalist also, I don't want to mention the name, many of you may be knowing, she tweeted once, at that time tweet was not X, in tweet, she made a tweet when the Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav preparations were going on, and our Honorable Pradhan Mantri was visiting all places, and he was preparing the ideological, intellectual ground for the celebration of Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav. You may be knowing the style of our Pradhan Mantri. He will not put any idea as a new idea before us. He will prepare the ideological ground, intellectual ground. At that time he was talking about the Bharat, Sanskrit, all these Sanskritik batein, cultural matters. So to counter that preparation or the speeches, this lady has tweeted that, Are Baba, Baba means that Thadiwala, Are Baba, where was your India before Britain came here? It was just a landmass in between Burma and Afghanistan. It was just this is the concept. That's why I said that let alone Akhanda Bharata, they are not ready to accept even India. It was just a landmass. One of our colleagues was one Prachar Vibhag member. He was is expert in giving sarcastic comments and replies. He said, "Theek hai ma." And you are right actually. That's why when Britain came here, they have founded a company also in the name British East Landmass in between Burma and Afghanistan Company. So that one company has been made in that name. So this is their belief. Actually, Bharat is not at all acceptable for them. What is the fact? Right from the Vedic period, even pre-Vedic period, if how many of you are approving that fact, there was a Bharat before Veda also. When Veda is saying about a Bharat, you may be knowing, in Rigveda, it has been clearly mentioned, glowing like fire with their knowledge are living this land, Bharat, Bharati, many a times. Invoking the spirit of Bharat into Yajna, there are mentioning. So if that concept is there in Veda, it must be, it would have been there before Veda also. That's why I said pre-Vedic period. Many of our people are not ready to accept that pre-Vedic. How could it be? I पूछते हैं. So Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya, Prithvi Sukta saying Mata Bhumi. Which Mata? Which Bhumi? From the explanation given by the Prithvi Sukta Rishis, it is quite clear that he was mentioning about this Bharat, because the land wherein which ice mountains are there, bit deserts are also there, dense forests are also there, 6 Ritus are there. Where else in the whole Bhumi, whole earth, these 6 Ritus and ice and desert combined together in a land? Where else you can find out? Where else you can find out these type of minerals, rich minerals and all? The explanations are there in Prithvi Sukta, clearly indicating that Prithvi is about this Bharat, our Bharat. Samudra Paryanta Ekarat, clearly mentioning about the sacred geographical boundaries of this land. It has been clearly mentioned. In the later period, it has been reinterpreted as Asetu Himachala. Setu, Rameshwara to Himachala. Boundaries are being clearly mentioned. See, in Padma Purana, it has been mentioned very clearly about this Bharata's boundaries and Bharat's Varnana Uttaram Yat Samudrasya Himagre Chaiva Dakshinam Varishantat Bharatam Nama Bharati Yatra Santati. So how many of us can just visualize the boundaries without going there? So one must have gone there into Himalaya, one must have gone deep to the Samudra and then gave these boundaries that Bharata is there, Uttaram Yat Samudrasya. When Kalidasa was explaining about the beauty and the sacredness of this land, what must be the Manadanda? He is explaining, Astyuttaram Dishi Devatatma, Himalayam Nama Nagadhiraja, Purvaparato Nidhivagahya, Stita Prithivya Iva Manadanda. So it is there in Veda, and all the scriptures came after that. And all those great sacred stories are being repeated in each and every language. Told, retold, heard, reheard, interpreted, reinterpreted. In all places of this land and in our local languages, it has been translated. Bharadam Padiya Perintevanar. See, there was a Sangam poet named in the Perintevanar. He is also a Sangam poet. But to differentiate in between these two Perintevanar, Bharata, Mahabharata has been reinterpreted and written, Padiya. Perintevanar, who sung, Padiya means sung, Mahabharata. 12,000 verses it was there. It has been explained like that. I think it only 832 verses are found now. It has been published to 828 or something has been published some years back. In Kerala, there is a particular text in ancient Malayalam. It is of 11th century text. That text name is Tirunizhal Malai. I am just giving some examples only. When some people are saying that this land was not a Bharat, the name itself was got, and this concept of nation was actually contribution of the Britishers or the Europeans or the colonizers. They are not thinking about these realities. In Tirunizhal Malai, Govinda Kavi, he is supposed to be a backward community Kavi. It is to be mentioned. Nowadays, Jati is very sacrosanct. It is to be mentioned. When you are saying about Hindutva, it is a great sin. But if you are saying about Nadar, that's great. If you are saying Nair, super. Ijava, that's great. But if you are talking about Hindutva, Hindu, that's a great sin. But so I am saying the Govinda Kavi, recently I found out that he is from my village. That's also. He wrote Tirunizhal Malai, in which he has mentioned all major kingdoms or states of ancient Bharata, in which Chera, Chola, China, Bangla, Kashmira, all has been mentioned. I did a bit research about that Govinda Kavi, Govinda poet, and found out that that gentleman has never went out of that Aramula, Pandalam area. He never went out. But he is very quiet, very familiar about the sacred parts and states and kingdoms of Bharat. He mentioned about the geography. He mentioned about the Meru Parvata, Meru mountain, how it is positioned on earth. Just like the Namb of Nilavalak, this lambs or sacred lamb, there is a central portion like a what you say, it can be stalk, that's a thunder. He is mentioning about Meru Parvata in that way. South of Meru Parvata, there is Himalaya. South of Himalaya, this land comes. It has been mentioned in the Prachina Malayala. It is published also. This is not a secret. Ramayana and Mahabharata, you may be knowing in Mahabharata, if there was no Bharata concept at that period or before that, how Mahabharata came into existence? How this explanation about the geography of Bharata, how these interrelation stories can be found out, how a pan-Bharata context has been explained in that Mahabharata. Where was Gandhari from? Gandhari was from Gandhara Desha, Kandahar of present-day Afghanistan. Where was Panchali from? Panchala of Jammu Kashmir. Where was Ulupi from, one of the wives of Arjuna? Came from Manipur, for which Arjuna got the sacred Manipur. From where Sri Krishna married? I'm not saying that it may be story, it may be truth. But these sacred stories were told and retold and heard and reheard, interpreted and reinterpreted, and became a very being of ourselves. And it has been translated into a geographical sacredness, sacred geography. So why the whole Bharata is coming together at these sacred places where it has been mentioned very clearly in the Mahabharata. See, Sri Krishna went all the way to Arunachal Pradesh. Maybe Maharashtra people may not agree, but they are saying that Arjuna married, Sri Krishna married Rukmini from Nasik. Nasik. But in Arunachal Pradesh, I think that is more, not Assam, it is in Arunachal Pradesh. It is in Arunachal, Bhishmaka Rajya, Bhishmaka, daughter of Bhishmaka. It has been mentioned. During the Tirtha Yatra of Arjuna, where did he went? Where did he go? He went to northeast, explaining all the sacred places. Those places are still there in the same name. In the same name. That's, and in Mahabharata, there is mentioning about one Perinchot Udayanan. Perinchot Udayanan was a Kerala Chera king. He was in charge of the mess, because he don't want to align with any of the forces, so he has been assigned by Sri Krishna a job to prepare food for all. So he was in charge of the kitchen. So all this explanation, Parashurama, he is the creator of Kerala. Kerala is known as Parashurama Bhumi. But for tapasya, he went all the way to Arunachal Pradesh, Parashurama Kunda. Parashurama Kunda. So how can you say that there was no Bharat, there was no Akhanda Bharata? It was very much there. That's why Ram Manohar Lohia, a staunch socialist, a staunch atheist even, he was said that Lord Rama connected north with south, and Lord Sri Krishna connected west with east, and great Paramashiva is present in each and every particle of this land. Kankara Kankara me Shankar hai, as I have mentioned. Through Jyotirlinga, 12 Jyotirlinga, Shiva connected Bharat as a whole. This has been mentioned. So the idea of Bharat as culturally interlinked entity existed in the minds of storytellers, and to be more precisely, through those storytellers in the public, in the people. And those sacred stories, I have repeated many a time, told and retold, it became the very being of this nations, the people. And these sacred stories have transformed into a sacred geography. It has established a linkage, and it has been developed into a sacred geography. And that to visit, to get punya from that sacred geography, northerners, the people who are living in the north side of Bharat, I don't want to say North India, the people who are living in the north used to flock in Rameshwara, and the southerners, the people who are living in the southern part, are going to Himalaya, going to Kumbh Mela, and this interlinkage has been established. There are a lot of examples which I would like to say, but the time is up, so I am concluding. What about Shankaracharya? Why from Kerala he walked all the way, just like a big diamond? If you can, his tour is being transformed into a picture. You can see that it is just like a big diamond, going from establishing Matha in Dwaraka of Gujarat in the west, Puri in the east of Orissa, Sringeri of Karnataka in the south, Badrinath of Uttarakhand in the north. Why he has selected these places? He also have got that great concept of this Akhanda Bharata. Then he went to Srinagar. Srinagar is the place of Sri or Shakti, Devi. That place, that hill is still known as Shankaracharya Hills. All these places are very much before us. If those campaign which has been made by those frustrated elements have got a bit truth, How Shankaracharya have traveled all over Bharat? How? If there was no link language, they are saying that English people have given us the link language to connect in between. How Shankaracharya traveled all the way? This is the very, this can be seen in the bhakti movement of Bharat also. Though it was started from south, already Jayantiji has mentioned about Alwar and Nayanars in the 6th and in between 6th and 7th and 10th centuries. Alwars and Nayanars started that bhakti movement. But it has been taken by whole Bharat. Whole Bharat. Kambar, Basava, Chaitanya, Ramanuja, Ramananda, who was the guru of Kabir of Uttar Pradesh, Surdas, Mirabai, Tulasidas, Narsi Mehta, Puntanam of Kerala, Guru Nanak of Punjab. So, the whole Bharata was rejuvenated with the bhakti movement, all over Bharat. But actually this bhakti movement was not combined with to some religious hymn making or bhajana or kirtana. It has been transformed into a nationalist movement also. It was a national movement. Actually it has ignited the spirit of nationalism in our people. The independence struggle has started by bhakti movement, rishis and sant. That is the correct thing. I would like to mention about Narsi Mehta. Narsi Mehta, who wrote that Vaishnava Janat Tene Kahiye. He was not confining with the Kirtana alone. He wrote about Bharata Bhakti Stotras also. Gopalji may know because he is from Gujarat. Govinda ko guna gayo re, dhan dhan teni mata pitare, dhan dhan teni kayo re, Govinda ko guna gayo re, Bharata khanda bhutalama janani, Govinda ko guna gayo re. Govinda ke guna, the real meaning, actual meaning can be said by Gopalji. Bharata khanda bhutalama janani. He wrote along with the Kirtanas about the greatness of this Bharata. As if he has sent a message to Shankaradeva or Madhavadeva of Assam. Shankaradeva and Madhavadeva of Assam has wrote another poem in Assami language, just as a translation of what which Narasimha Mehta has written. Dhanya dhanya kalikal, dhanya naratanu bal, dhanya dhanya janama bharata barishe. Narasimha Mehta wrote about Bharata Khanda Mahajanani. Shankaradeva was Assam in the same time wrote Dhanya Dhanya Janama Bharata Barishe Tab Jaba Yagya Tej Tavare Charana Bhaji in Assami Bhasha. All about Bharata. And they might have together sent a WhatsApp message to Pundanam of Kerala. Pundanam has translated it in this way. Bharatamaya Khanda Mozhinjulla Parilengu Melutalla Nirnayam Atra Mukhyamayulloru Bharatam Ipradeshamennellarum orkanam. This has happened in the beginning of the 16th century, end of the 15th century. Ipradeshamennellarum orkanam. And to the north also this message has gone. Through which media I don't know. Guru Nanak has written bit more communally, quote unquote. All these three Kavis wrote Bharata only. What Guru Nanak wrote? Sachki Vani Ave Nanak, Sachu Sunayasi Sachki Bela, Kaya Kapata Tuk Tuk Hosi, Hindustan Samalasi Bole, Hindustan Samalasi Bole. The person who wrote, who defined Bharata as Hindustan, first in the history of Bharat, was Guru Nanak, not Veera Savarkar, not Guruji Golwalkar, not Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. It was written by Guru Nanak in this sloka. He has again wrote, he saw the Babar's attack happened in the Khurasan. Khurasan khasmana kiya, Hindustan daraya. This Babar Mughal has come to this Khurasan area and he has destroyed it all. It is an alert signal for you Hindustanis. That was he said. He was the person who gave the alert, caution to whole Bharat. The same period, during the later part of the Bhakti movement, these great Kavis, these poets wrote about Bharata, Hindustana. This connection is there. So if you come to Guru Govinda Simha, he founded the Panjapyare. How many of you have gone deep into the land from where this Panjapyare came? They were all not from Punjab. I think no one was from the so-called political Punjab, the political Punjab nowadays. See, the first Pyare, the story you may be knowing, I don't want to say, in 1699, on a sacred Vaishakhi day, he announced that the Devi needs belly. So the first young man, Bhai Daya Singh, stood up and came before Guru Govinda Simha, and he said that I am ready to give my head for Devi to save this land. That Daya Singh came from Sialkot of present-day Pakistan. And the second man, Bhai Dharam Singh, he came from the Hastinapura, Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. And the third man, Bhai Himmat Singh, came from Puri, Orissa. And Bhai Mohakam Singh, he came from Bet Dwaraka of Gujarat. And the last fifth of the Panjapyare, Bhai Sahib Singh, came from deep south, Bidar of Karnataka. So this Akhanda Bharata concept was very much there during the Sikh period, the Bhakti movement, the Darshana period, Veda period, all the scriptural period. And beyond that also, Bharat was one, and that concept was very much there. Not only this Vaishnava, Shaiva, Darshana, Upanishad or the Bhakti movement, even in Tantra, Tantra is considered to be beyond all these things. Beyond all these things. They are Atyashramis, the Tantra people. But they also believed in this great sacredness of this land. Why? If it would have been not in that sense, why this 51 Shakti Pidha concept? Sati's sacred parts were started all over Bharat. Not even a single part has gone to Russia. Not all the parts have fallen in Assam alone. Not all the parts have been fallen in the Kamakshi Devi Mandir alone. But it has been started all over this sacred geography. Right from the Kamakshi Amman of Tamil Nadu. The naval part of Sati has been fallen there. Vaishnava Devi of Jammu Kashmir in the north, the skull, and Pavgad of Gujarat, where the right foot of Devi has fallen, and Kamakya of east of Assam, where the Yoni has fallen. And again 47 other parts, and 51 parts were started all over the Bharat. See, I have already said that sacred memory of our forefathers, which has been formed into sacred stories. Sacred stories were told and retold and became the very part of ours, and it has been developed or transformed into a sacred geography, and that linkage was very strong among us. So this is the reality. That's why I am said the unity, the integrity of this great land is a reality. It is not an imaginary idea. So it is to be realized in that way. That's why I said that once we thought about so many things which is not going to be attained, it is not possible, it is unattainable, it one by one it is happening before our eyes. I think this particular aim, the point is also going to be satisfied in our lifetime. Namaskar, Vande Mataram.
Thank you, Nandakumarji. Originally, when we thought about this edition of Chennai Lit Fest, I remember Chef Ali had curated some idea, and then in discussion with Bharat and Shamsundarji, we said, I just suggested them that, somehow, somewhere, this idea of what we perceive as Akhanda Bharat, the Ramarajya, should be the core theme of this edition, and that's why we thought Nandakumarji should be the keynote speaker. Yesterday, we were a bit, skeptical because his health is not really good, but perhaps it is the this idea of Bharat and Bharatvarsha that has actually energized him, and then he could. So we have a very limited time, maybe 13 minutes before starting the next session. So I'll just have, couple of questions. I have had, this kind of conversation, especially on North-South issue, in personal conversation as well as public conversation, many a times with Nanda Kumarji. So I would like him to specifically, he has already elaborated on, pre-Vedic period to freedom struggle period, how idea of Bharat has been flown in various forms, but where this dotted India concept came in. And how did it percolated in our intellectual realm?
See, this dotted India concept is a creation of those frustrated elements which I have said, frustrated with the new development happening in Rashtra. That's one point. Another thing, the very, dangerous idea, demeaning idea. It is a creation of the colonizers. I mean, the Europeans, which when they have developed their education system and imposed upon us. The main aim before them was to disintegrate, divide Bharat. So with that end in mind, they have created some particular narratives in which they started saying that South is entirely